Hello, everybody. I'm Conquering History Games, and welcome to the start of a brand new campaign on the channel. Today, we're going to be starting one of the Chinese nations that you all voted on in the community tab. So that's why people need to be checking the community tab for those sorts of things. And specifically, as you could probably tell from the title, we are going to be playing today, starting as the Shandong. There was a few different cliques that I had wanted to play. There's just so much great stuff in China, but Shangdong is one that was one that I hadn't really been paying a lot of attention to initially when the China rework was coming out, but when I would see how it would play when playing other cliques, I thought it was really interesting. It initially had a really crazy buff at one point that it doesn't anymore, but that's okay because that just makes it harder, and so it'll mean I'm that much better when I win. I'm not going to be playing as Zhang Zhongchang. I thought about being a little bit ambiguous about who I was going to play. Mostly just so that I could have as the title the basist general, because it is actually historical fact that Zhang Zhongchang was the basist general in China, and that's a fact. You could look it up. The New York Times said it in back in the 30s. Anyway. So there's going to be a cut here real quick because I just want to set up some custom game rules for fun, but I don't want to give away them. Just so I like to use the custom game rules more and more as time goes by. Not ever anything to like make things deliberately easy for me or something, but just to kind of mess around with the world sometimes. Anyway, I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Also, slight little asterisks on this campaign. I have been hearing rumors that that sometimes there will be little bugs that are happening lately in China. There was a new patch that just dropped. I was waiting for that before I actually started recording this today. Today being the day you're recording, I don't know if it's going to be the day you see this. So it should hopefully not be an issue. But if something happens and I have to use console commands, so be it. It'll probably just be stuff like, maybe I have to manually justify or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, we're not going to be playing as Zhang Zongchang. We're going to be doing the Revolutionary Order, and I wanted to just give a quick little bit of background on that. But also, I have some music, especially for this occasion. And of course, the goals of the series are to unite China, as they always are whenever playing in China, even if that means I have to do things manually, such as when I did the Ma Click campaign. Yeah, I think the Ma Click didn't have a path for unifying China, so I just had to manually use my political power to justify on everybody, but it was very fun. Anyway, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going a national populist route, which is very unusual to see in China. A lot of it is flavors of the Kuomintang or support for the imperial system. But we're going to be instead playing as Zhang Tianran. Incidentally, as I'm sure a lot of you have figured out, I'm not exactly confident in pronouncing Chinese names, so we're just going to plow through that and accept it. By the way, the link to the music I'll try to have in the description below. There should be no copyright, so hopefully nobody's getting blocked. Anyway, so I keep saying anyway. Zhang Tianran we'll talk about in detail when he comes to power, but he is the leader of He's considered the 18th patriarch, or you could perhaps call him the honored leader of the Yiguandao or the Yiguandao, which is it listed here, the name of it? Yeah, but here we go. Yeah, the Yiguandao, which is this religious movement. So the Yiguandao movement is kind of like the evolution of the I think it's called One Truth, Three Paths movement, which had been in China for centuries. It was essentially China was a Confucian nation or country or area of the world, whatever you want to call it. We're talking about back during the age of dynasties, not the warlord periods. And eventually, Buddhism made its way over from India, and Taoism, or Taoism, depending on who you ask, also had taken roots within the country. And all three of them had a really strong appeal and ingrained themselves into the culture. So eventually there was this idea, like I said, of the one truth, three ways, where they were all seen as really legitimate religious paths. At least I hope I'm remembering that correctly. It's been a while since I did. I've studied that area of Chinese history. So the Yiguandao are kind of the evolution of that, because they also start to incorporate elements of Christianity as well as Islam into it. And this movement was led by somebody named Lu Zongyi. He was the 17th patriarch of the movement. And he's the one who carried it through the late 19th century. I was going to say 1900s. No, the 19th century. And he creates this new White Sun era, or at least his followers said he was part of the White Sun era. The White Sun was a really important symbol during this time in Chinese history, like the early 20th century. And he starts gaining disciples, and among those disciples is Zhang Tianran, who's going to be our leader for this campaign. Lu Zongyi ends up dying. I probably should have pulled up a picture of him. He ends up dying in the 20s, and his little sister actually becomes the leader of the movement, because she's seen as the reincarnation of the Bodhisattva Guanyin, not to be confused with Guan Yu, the Chinese character. And so she's in charge for a long time, until there's like this spirit riding thing that happens. I honestly don't know the details of it, but it is determined that Zhang is going to be the new patriarch of the Yiguandao movement, which is how I'm going to pronounce it, by the way. I'm going to call it the Yiguandao instead of the Yiguandao. With Chinese names, sometimes you just got to pick an incorrect pronunciation and go with it. It's like Cao Cao when you're talking about the Three Kingdoms period. I've heard Cao Cao and Xiao Xiao and all sorts of things. You know, some of it's phonetic, some of it's how it's spelled. Or like with Russian, like one of Tolstoy's works. There's the book. It's like in every short story collection about when he was in the Caucasus, but it's like it's sometimes called Hajat Murad and sometimes called Hajat Murad, and I think I've also seen a third spelling. So, anyway, oh gosh, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh my goodness. Anyway, the Yiguandao ended up being, I'd say, pretty reasonably popular in China during the 20s, 30s, and especially in the 40s. They did have their roots in Shangqing, but they started to expand outwards once they became a lot more active in their mission to recruit. Now, this is, you got to remember, in the 40s, a lot of the Chinese Civil War was still ongoing, and eventually it ends. And it ends up, the new Chinese government under the People's Republic determines that the Yiguandao are illegal. There was like very much an anti-religious movement going on, kind of like it happened in the Soviet Union earlier, after the communists there had come into power. So the Yiguandao end up taking off to Taiwan with the Kuomintang. They end up managing to establish some solid roots there, even though the Kuomintang government also persecuted them. They did spread to other parts of Asia. There was some of them in Japan. There was actually quite a few in South Korea to this day, as far as I know. So that's that. And even today, I think there's still millions, I think, in China who believe in this movement. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be changing history. Instead of the Kuomintang or the communists, or well, I guess, yeah, because there's like the left Kuomintang and the right Kuomintang in this, but instead of the Kuomintang or the Qing managing to take control over unified China, we're going to have our movement and the way of fire make its way across the nation. And so that's the goal. We'll have to probably fight off Japan, but I think really the hardest part of the campaign is going to be early on, because we're going to have to deal with the League of Eight provinces, and our main asset at the beginning, because we certainly are not going to have much in the way of technology, as you can see, is that we're going to have a whole lot of recruitable manpower. As you can see, we're already at 800,000. You're like, well, this is China. Everybody's got manpower. No. The Shangdong's going to have a lot of manpower, as you'll see. And we've got to use that, and I think if we can manage to take over the former League of Eight provinces kind of quickly, that's going to give us a really strong base to work with. Actually, I think we can't come down here to the Federalist area in the south right away. But if we could defeat the Kuomintang and stuff, the left Kuomintang early, we'll be in a really good position. We can start to consolidate, and we can prepare ourselves to take on the Qing and the Chinese, and not the Chinese, the Japanese. Gosh, I didn't realize how long I had been talking. I'll probably upload the first 2 episodes of this in the same day or something. Oh yeah, we'll talk about other things like the Red Spears later. So let's set up here. We want to get some divisions ready to go, because I think the crux of this fight is going to be that we've just got to frickin' haul ass south the moment the war breaks out. Now, what's great about China, especially if you're fighting along the coast here, playing a nation along the coast, is the war starts really, really quickly. It's not like the United States where you're waiting around for a year and a half. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But you really just get to jump into the fray super fast. Okay. So, 2 Zhangs enter. Okay, let's go over our national spirits. Always got to do that early. And we're not going to talk about this general, because we're not going to use him. But maybe if I play him in the future... but we're not. I think everybody who played Shandong Click played this guy. As far as I know, nobody took the other paths, at least not on YouTube. So I thought it'd be interesting to go my own way. But you can pause and read about him if you want. We're dealing with some rampant drug trade, so it's hurting our resource gain efficiency and stability. It's probably because he's addicted to the opium. Dog Meat General's giving us army experience every day, and paternal autocratic support. That's cool and all, but it's not going to be around for long, so it's not really relevant. And we have here the Honored Master, who's giving us a recruitable population of 1%. Now, I think he used to give 5% recruitable population, which was nuts. Like, you basically never had to spend political power on recruitable population because of that. Even if you went to, total mobilization, it was awesome. But it was, obviously, was seen as overpowered, which it was. Having converted the infamous Zhang Zhongchang from atop Mount Tai, Zhang Tianran draws the world's attention towards himself and away from the corruption of Jinan below. Publicly benevolent, but secretive, Zhang Tianran's influence is growing and spreads far beyond his monastic fortresses. And then flight to the north, thousands flee to Shandong to escape the disarray to the south, pushed by warlord levies and pulled by Yiguandao salvationist promises. Zhong Cheng's relaxed rule offers at least temporary asylum. Whomever rules will decide the fate of these refugees, so that's going to help with our national populism, which is the direction we're going in. It's going to help with our population, but it hurts daily political power gain a little bit, which actually does kind of suck. I think we can go ahead and unpause now and get moving along. The army reform system is different now, by the way, because since the no step back stuff happened, so now instead of army experience being used to pay for the army reforms, the army reforms go through when you research more land doctrine. So there's an argument to be made that you're actually now getting more out of your army experience because you're getting land doctrine at the same time you're preparing to continue the army reform. But that's only if you're spending all your army experience on the land doctrines. It could be argued, well, I want to spend my army experience on changing templates or something like that. And now you're making me have to spend it on land doctrines I don't want to spend it on so that I can continue my army reform. No, it's there's pros and cons. Oh yeah, and as you can see here, we can form the Republic of China if we own Jingzhou, which is actually down here, isn't it? Wait, hold on a sec. No, Jingzhou is up here. It's Beijing, duh. So it is there. Yeah, that's what will become known as the Republic of China. We can start integrating all the provinces. So first we want to fight the Qing ASAP to take that, but the odds are, because after we do the initial war, we're going to have to build up for a bit. I'm willing to bet that we're not going to be able to do that until the end. Which is a shame, because, you know, whenever you could, if you could form the Republic before you've actually unified everything, that's really powerful. Okay, 1936, turning point in Shandong. The province of Shandong has been carved up, and I'm going to read a lot of this because I'm sure a lot of people don't know this. It's not as popular an area. The province of Shandong has been carved up of its most valuable land by the legation states and Germany. The port of Qingdao, once devastated by war between Japan and Germany, now serves as an important port for both the Imperial German Navy and for civilian trade by the companies that make up the Aufsichtsrat. This situation has made Jinan the perfect home for the real power in Shandong. So Jinan's over here. Zhang Zhongcheng. Zhang came to Shandong in 1911, ostensibly to lead the Shandong Revolutionary Army, but quickly made gambling and whoring his main activity. Jinan has grown like the dog-meat general has, filthy, profitable, and less defended than initially planned. Atop Taishan's 6,600 steps are the headquarters of the Yiguandao. The mysterious and apparently holy Zhang Tianran has made it the safest and most morally upright place in Shandong. The citizens of Shandong in 1936 have been cornered between disconnected, poverty-stricken roads between Jinan and Weihaiwei. Salvation lies in the nearby Jinan or atop Mount Tai. I don't care, the train is late. Alright, let's change this color. Don't like it. Not one bit. Better. Alright, we're not going to be reorganizing the railway system, so let's just get that away out of there. Lu Zongji arrives to Jinan. The day brings to Zongzhan another opportunity to humiliate the old man on the mountain, Zhang Tianran. In order to establish his little cult on the hill, Tianran had to expel the sister of his former master, Lu Zongyin. That's the sister who we talked about was a reincarnation of the Bodhisattva. The sister, Lu Zongje, has become a rather concise rebuttal to the numerous Yiguandao well-wishers Zhongcheng has had to deal with in recent months. This is why she must return to Shandong, if only as a joke. To enhance the shock value, Zhongcheng has brought his old mother to this welcoming ceremony, which has swelled from the intended group into a sizable crowd. Zhongcheng, in an attempt to enhance the humiliation of Tianran, would feel, has given the elderly Lu Zhongje a bouquet, and a traditional 21-gun salute was fired into a nearby apartment building in celebration of Lu Zhongje's arrival. Bullets have to go somewhere. Yeah, I guess we don't want to just fire him in the air. That could hurt somebody. We'll just shoot him in that apartment building. What do you mean they didn't evacuate it? Alright, so Kornilov's doing his thing up here. We're not getting Wrangel. Alright. And of course it'll be interesting to see what happens out there, but China's where a lot of stuff goes down early. Having said that, we're probably not going to actually fight the war. I think the way it might be, maybe it'll probably time out just right, is the war is about to begin, and then that's where we'll end the episode. After that rouse of fun and violence, Zhongcheng dropped his mother off with Lu Zhongji and has decided to celebrate a night on the town. Zhongcheng stops occasionally to distribute Minqing to okay, you know, this is like him specifically, but he's having a ball. He's having a ball. He's party hardy. Party hardy all night long. Unrest in the south. Keep an eye. Alright, here we go. This is going to be a tricky one, too, because I don't think we're going to actually border the League of Eight provinces when the breakaways happen. Anhui is going to be there first. But the thing with the League of Eight provinces, it's a very difficult position to be in because everybody's running away from you and you're surrounded. But if they can hold on for a little bit, they could easily come back. Not easily, but it's like you have to crush the 8 provinces quickly, or they will make a comeback. They've got a good base to do it with. So Anhui being in the middle is going to make things tricky. Now, a spy for Jie Huan is captured. After a night of hard drugs and soft women in Jinan, Zhongcheng was reveling in himself the next morning when he saw a stranger in his backyard. Alerting his wives and then his guards, Zhongcheng apprehended the intruder. After Sun Tianying's own special words with the man, it was revealed that he was an ally of Zhang Zihuan, and had come after a sex worker had alerted him to drugs on the property. Tianying believes that this intruder is the vanguard of a rebellion Zhu Huan is planning out of Kufu. It should be Chufu. A fear Tianying has stoked for several months since his income from taxation was cut off by Zhe Yuan's militia. Commander Junosuke Date, on the other hand, insists to the hungover Zhangcheng that Zhe Yuan is planning to alert the Qing instead. Junosuke insists that their forces be diverted to Dezuo to stop Zhe Yuan from escaping. Barely able to recall the night before, Zhangcheng decides to, we're gonna block the roads here. We don't want him getting away. So yeah, this is the one that you get like the third path story of a bastard. We're not doing that. Totalist charter, whatever. Okay, yeah, these are just all the traditional early events going on. Okay, Junosuke Date attacked Jiwan at Dozo. Date's forces arrived at Dezuo to strong public distaste, stronger revulsion than usual. It was immediately apparent that the town had been turned over to the Renzi and Zhe Yuan. Junosuke sent his cavalry into Dezuo to search out Zhe Yuan with the looming and dangerous prospect of a possible raid into the Qing kingdom. Zhe Yuan was found near the Haido Jinshan temple paying respects to his ancestors. Junosuke's soldiers seized Zhe Yuan and a skirmish began between his Renzi militiamen and the cavalry. Fortunately, Junosuke brought enough firepower to eliminate the militia and Zhe Yuan in the process. Unfortunately, the abundance of witnesses in Dezuo required a lot more fighting to silence. At the end of the battle, the Haido Jinshan temple was in flames, and Junosuke was retreating back toward Jinan, trying his best to think up an alibi. That was a boxer temple. Nobody will care. We're going to talk about the boxers probably in the next episode too, once we're in charge here. Oh, there we go. There we go. Just kicking off. Down south. See, not even through the first month. Zhangcheng sends an alibi to the Qing. Several books of poetry. Yeah, whatever. This is just him talking to the government. So yeah, it's just getting rid of that one potential path, which we're not going to do anyway. So it's irrelevant. Black Monday hits. Oh, the Travailleurs got elected in France. That's a very strong government then. Yeah, 80% popularity. They went all in on them. I just kind of get used to it being mixed, which it's like that makes sense that when the AI is in charge, it'll almost always be mixed because figure it's rolling a D4, right? Each time it's gonna be one of any four options. Mount Tai outraged at Zhongchang. It did not take long for the teacher Tianran to find out about Lu Zhongji. The initial reaction being delivered in a request to return to Mount Tai for more treatment of his long-gone illness. These letters were ignored by Zhongchang, wishing to further annoy the teacher on the mountain and to humiliate him by publicly reading the letters. Finally, the last letter delivered today took on a much darker tone. The letter addresses the people of Jinan and accused Zhongchang of smuggling opium into China, betraying Chinese for Western gambling partners, and of trying to take Lu Zhongji as his wife. Tianran has challenged Zhongchang to come to Mount Tai to receive his eternal judgment, or else the people of Shandong will wither and die to punish their leader. Sun Tianying recommends confronting and purifying Mount Tai of its residents, while another commander, Zhang Jingyao, recommends waiting the teacher out. So we're gonna go ahead and confront these ascetics. Yeah. What could go wrong? We'll take him out, right? It's not like he's got the power of God and something else, some sort of cartoonish thing on his side. Tianran passes judgment on Zhongchang. Zhongchang's contingent arrived at the gates of Dai Miao. Already his soul's tired of the 6,600 steps. Tianying suggested they conceal their guns and open fire when they are let in. As Zhongchang passed under the Xingyang gate, he was fatally shot by a sharpshooter from atop the gate. Tianying attempted to charge the courtyard with other men he had, but Jingyao had fled with the soldiers guarding his rear. Tianying was also fatally shot, and the current whereabouts of Zhang Jingyao is unknown. The honored teacher Zhang Tianran was received in Jinan with an early New Year's celebration and read his final letter to Zhongchang to a cheering crowd. I declare this a red letter day, because the red spears. So, national populism will become more popular. We're going to lose 3 generals. They're going to some of them are going to run off to the other provinces and stuff. So, we've given generals to our neighbors. Doesn't matter. We've got the power of God. We are the Yiguandao. We'll be fine. And that's it. We got our brand new flag, which I'll probably use as the basis for my thumbnail. So let's do a quick little read of the bio here. Yeah, we're not gonna, let's see, there's only 5 minutes left. So we're not gonna go to war today. We'll just talk about some other stuff and just set up for the fight. Now we're gonna have Propaganda Master now, which helps our war support. We're also a smooth talking charmer, so people are more likely to trade with us. Tianran aspired to nothing in his life until he was introduced into the cult of Lu Zongyi. That was the 17th patriarch we talked about earlier. Lu Zongyi was the leader of a small group of religious syncretics called the Yiguandao in 1918. Lu Zongyi had always planned for his sister Lu Zongjie to succeed him to lead the Yiguandao, and even recognized her supposed divinity as the reincarnation of the Buddhist god Guanyin. And maybe I shouldn't have done these bios before I got here. Is just saying what I said. A theological schism occurred after the passing of Li Zhongyi in 1930, where Ling Zongjie took followers loyal to her out of the Yiguandao and relocated to Henan, where they remain to this day. Tianran, having the full trust of his membership, as well as a newly divine wife, Sun Zuhin, began to tell startling revelations. In 1922, Tianran had built a shrine on Mount Tai, which grew until it encompassed the other monasteries on the mountain. By 1924, Mount Tai had become the year-round home for Zhang Tianran and his inner circle. A spirit writing session that same year foretold Emperor Puyi was in danger of being poisoned, and a trip to Beijing was planned. Tianran amused and flattered Emperor Puyi with promises that the Yiguandao would reinforce loyalty to the Qing through charity and warfare if need be. The first red spears and big swords arrived to Mount Tai in 1925. The greatest catch was Tianran's supposed conversion of Zhang Zhongzhang in 1935. Well, we killed his ass now. So, I guess let's talk about the red spears. First off, great name. How can you not love that? So the Red Spears are a group that there's actually still some ongoing scholarship about, at least in English. I don't know how much of it's in Chinese. Presumably there's more scholarship in Chinese, but at least in the English-speaking world, they're still doing research on this group and finding out exactly how important it was, and more discoveries seem to indicate that it was a fairly significant rebellion group, a rural rebellion group in China. So China has a history of rural rebellion. You lose the mandate of heaven, the rural peasants are going to come after your ass. So the Red Spears were very similar to the Boxers of the Boxer Rebellion, although of course they showed up later. And what's interesting about them is, as I said, they're this rural rebellious group that is not aligned with the communists of this period, and in fact is in opposition to them, it seems. And they were quite a few of them, it seems. I've seen numbers that say there might have been as many as 3 million of them at their peak. So it was a pretty significant group. We're going to have to wait and see where the scholarship on this goes. It's my understanding that it's really tricky to learn about China because of the nature of... well, I just don't know how to say it. Let's face it. There are political concerns when it comes to the United States against China, and of course, the People's Republic of China, their government has interests in supporting certain narratives, as any government does. But certain things are going to be hidden, certain things are going to be exaggerated. There's going to be outright lies. And it's difficult. And I've said this before, but I do not envy anybody who studies the 20th century China. Those are very brave men and women, because it seems like it's a lot of crap to sift through. So many contradictory accounts. And all history is like that, but especially so when it's talking about China. So good on them, the people who dig into that. Anyway, so that's who the Red Spears are. Now, the Big Sword Society was a smaller one, as far as I know. And some people say that they were like this communal group of farmers that were like, you kind of think of it like the biblical books of I think it was Ezra and Nehemiah, where they're, you have a plow in one hand and a spear in the other to protect your farmland. Some people say they were basically glorified bandits. But they fought against both the communists and the Japanese historically. So when it says that we have the red spears and the big swords on our side, we're functionally saying the peasantry is with us. Peasantry that has been around for a while, that had taken part of the Boxer Rebellion, though themselves were not Boxers. They were influenced by the Boxers. And so yeah, we have the people. We are the people's leader. We're telling Puyi out here, the people are on your. I'm on your side, which means the people are on your side. We'll see how long that lasts. Yeah, there we go. So that brings us to the 30-minute mark. In the next episode, oh, by the way, yeah, we lost troops, but it's okay because we have we've got some others here that we could queue up. In the next episode, we're going to be starting the war. Thank you very much for joining me. I know it was a slow first episode, but it's going to get really, really exciting really fast. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Links are in the description to the playlist, to my Patreon, and to the music if you like that. I'm Conquering History Games, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.